Hello lads, ladies, gents, ladettes, whoever, whatever, welcome back to another video. Before jumping into today's video, I do want to talk about the elephant in the room, but I am going to keep this as brief as I can. If you haven't heard, at the time of recording at least, Bungie has recently fired quite a big percentage of its workforce. And given the way that the current owner, or at least the person in charge, seems to be living, I am not a fan of this. And although I'm very positive about Bungie, at least throughout this video, I can't say with good conscience that I support their current actions. With that said though, let's get into the video. It's pretty rare for sequels in any type of media to be considered at the same level, let alone better than their original release. For every Doom 2, Diablo 2, and Super Metroid, we have plenty of examples like Bubsy 3D, Mortal Kombat Special Forces, and Tomb Raider The Angel of Darkness. So when developer Bungie was tasked with making a follow-up to their instant hit Halo, you wouldn't really blame some gamers for having some concerns that things could go wrong. And although the series as a whole could be said to have lost its way down the line, Halo 2 is often cited as, and has a very legitimate argument for being the greatest sequel of all time. With its extremely imaginative title of Halo 2, in which it gained this title because you can use two guns at once, not just because it is the second game in the franchise. Master Chief's second outing went on to be the single most successful original Xbox game in terms of sales. Beyond just increasing the amount of weapons that you can carry around, Halo 2 basically turned everything from its older brother up to 11. From the combat, enemy variety, missions, and story, Halo 2 is a near flawless experience. And it truly cemented Halo as more than just a flash in the pan. It made Xbox a console worth having. Having its development confirmed in 2002, aiming for an initial release window of the holiday season of 2003, Halo 2 aimed to add in all the original cut content from the first game. The team at Bungie basically wanted to make their definition of a perfect game. However, it wasn't smooth sailing due to their ambitions being a bit more than what they could manage. This led to them having to cut a ton of content in order to eventually hit a release date of November 9th, 2004. YouTuber Rocket Sloth has a really good video documenting the development cycle of Halo 2, and I highly recommend watching it. I'll have a link below if you want to know more. To summarize the dev cycle with a quote, pressure makes diamonds. And boy oh boy, did they make one hell of a diamond. Consisting of 13 missions with the campaign taking roughly 9 to 10 hours to beat, Halo 2 has near perfect pacing. And thanks to these different missions, we actually get an incredible amount of variety for locations we get to visit, making the game visually stunning. Add on top of this the fact that there are tons of different enemy types, weapons, and way more vehicles, and you have a winning recipe. The opening of the game is basically an updated version of the beginning of Combat Evolved, and I don't mean this in a bad way. If anything, it's a lot better to me. The action feels more impactful, especially now that we have context of what to expect. Like the first game, it has Master Chief feeling like an absolute monster, while allowing the Covenant to have an impact and feel like a threat, while still being understandable as to why they're sort of scared of you. In what I found to be an interesting twist, we actually get to see things from the Covenant's perspective, with the game showing us what happens to an elite who has been labelled a heretic for failing to stop the events of the first game. Wanting revenge, the Covenant attack, thus setting everything into action. However, there's a bit more at play when it comes to the plot here. And getting to play as both the heretic elite on their journey to become an Arbiter, and Master Chief attempting to stop the Covenant is a really damn cool dynamic as their stories start to intersect. It makes you wonder what the hell is going to happen, only for a third party that you've probably forgot about to pretty much show up and make everything get turned upside down, with that being the Flood. It makes the game become so much more than just bad guy shows up, does bad thing, good guy saves the day. There's some real depth here to the writing, and I can't praise it enough. The Flood themselves are controlled by a hive mind known as the Grave Mind. Get it because the Flood are zombies? Good job Bungie, great naming conventions. The Flood are a lot more complex than our initial impressions though, as just being that of unintelligent beings driven to consume. Even the Grave Mind is more than just a villain, and sure they have their villainous intent and they do want to take over everything, but they serve more of a purpose for the story than just being the bad guy. They reveal to both Master Chief and the Arbiter about the Prophets lying about the Great Journey, leading to a civil war within the Covenant. The layers to the story here are incredible, and when you take into account the struggles and the crunch that Bungie went through during development, it's actually really insane they managed to get this incredible level of world building within their game. It'd honestly make a great TV show. The gameplay itself saw some wonderful changes, although not something that everyone personally enjoyed. Firstly, the ability to dual-wield weapons. This just made combat itself a lot more fun and a lot more hectic for a game series that isn't really as quick as you would like it to be. Sure, I'm a Doom guy and I do love going 100 miles an hour, and Halo just isn't that game. But getting to use these dual-wielded weapons definitely helped pick up the pace of the action. The second big change was to that of the health system. No longer do we have a health bar that we can refill with pickups along with a shield, world, we now just have a shield and then one more hit and we're gone. This leads to my only real issue with Halo 2, and that is the fact the gameplay feels a little bit disjointed here. Because of this health system, the game makes me want to play slow and methodical, whereas the dual wielding makes me want to play aggressive and a little bit crazy. It's a functional system by all means, and they don't necessarily compete against each other that often. And it might just be a me thing, to be honest, but I think I would have preferred to have the health bar system in this case. Beyond these two changes though, there is also a lot more vehicles, as I mentioned earlier. Now we actually get to fly the Banshees, and they control great. They're a lot of fun. Their controls are a little bit more arcadey than you would expect, but I think this is definitely for the best. It makes them a lot more accessible, even if to this day people still use them in multiplayer just to fly into other people on the ground. Yeah, I know you're an asshole. The gameplay isn't the only part that saw major upgrades, as personally I find the game's presentation, for Halo 2 that is, to be much stronger than that of the original. Everything is just more refined, from the visuals, the sound, and even the OST. It's not to say that the originals is bad in any way, but I do think Halo 2 is just that 10% better. And that's really the story of Halo 2. It is the first game, but better. And that's thanks to its improved visuals and presentation, the gameplay, hell, especially the multiplayer scene thanks to Xbox Live being born. Halo 2 to me is still the definitive way to play Halo. And that is just personal preference. I know there are some people who love the games post Halo 2, Reach especially, along with that of Halo 3. But Halo 2 is always going to hold that place in my heart as my favourite of the Halo games. So with that, lads, ladies, gents, ladettes, whoever, whatever, it brings us to the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed this little look back at Halo 2. I know it's not exactly the same type of retrospective as I normally do, but I mean, it's an FPS, there's only so much I can talk about. What's your favorite Halo game? Let me know in the comment section below. Mine, as obviously you can tell, is Halo 2. I adore it still to this day, and I have great memories playing it. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you want to go that extra step, you can hit the subscribe button. If you want to go that extra mile, you can subscribe to me on Ko-fi from just $1 a month, like these lovely people here. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.